This is the Songwriting Mind, a program exploring the personal depths of creativity, stories, and craft that define songwriting. In this episode, we'll hear from Blind John, a character from the forests of Bandon, Oregon, and brainchild of Silverton, Oregon-based songwriter Jake Prahar. Enjoy.
I didn't even like music at all until I was maybe, 16 years old. Like, music was the devil. Like, I hated the sound of all music. And I believe that's because I had two older sisters, and they liked to torment me growing up. So they would basically sing in my ear on the way to school these girly songs and whisper sing them in a way that made me want to rip my hair out. And so I could not even listen to any music. And then all of a sudden, I remember the most ridiculous song got me just pumped up. All of a sudden, it was I'm Your Boogeyman by, who is that, by White Zombie? I'm your boogeyman, that's what I am. And I heard that, and I was like dancing in the room, just like all of a sudden the power of music came to me. I was like, I love music. It was like a light switch went off, and I don't even know why. But then I think a year after that, I had picked up a guitar. So I'm going to guess I was about 17. And I was like, damn, we got to get to work here. Did I even write songs still? That might have been like 5 years after I picked up the guitar. I don't think that I even knew how to read or write. Because, sorry, this is ridiculous. All right. It kind of clicked in my head just now, though. I remember the first experience of writing. I was learning guitar, so I sucked. And I was just trying to figure stuff out, like, oh, this sounds cool. Doing little riffs. And I was really into heavy metal. It was like right out of the gate. That's the kind of music I want to play. Like, the heavier, the better. And so I'm riffing in my friend's bedroom. It's like this tiny room. We had this tape recorder set up behind a mattress. It's like the thing that everybody does, I feel like, back in the 90s. It's the worst audio quality, and we're trying to record and write our first song. He's on the drums, and this is a tiny bedroom, and this drum set's massive, and it's so loud you could barely hear anything. And my guitar is like a $30 crappy guitar, and we're jamming, trying to write a heavy metal song. We were listening to Slipknot at the time, so I'm like thinking I need to scream the whole time. I don't even know how to sing yet. Like, I didn't even know what a melody was. And I remember just screaming, "Someone's in the dark, coming for you." Just the dumbest stuff. Like, what's the darkest thing I can sing? And I'm in there screaming as hard as I can the darkest lyrics, the coolest, the most badassest lyrics I could think of. And I look over, and his mom comes in. She's staring at me like I'm like some possessed teenage boy. Like, what are you guys doing in here? I like totally forgot that we're like in his mom's house, and we're just being obnoxious, just basically playing as loud and obnoxious and stupid as we can. But I still remember that line, "Someone's in the dark." That was it. And yeah, we thought we were pretty cool. That was a great time. I mean, really about 15 years ago is when I started writing something that was like a complete song. Let's go with Long Cut Grizzly, for example. So that was the first time I put a full, complete song online. So I'll just start there. There was other mumbo jumbo before that, but it was never worth like actually showing someone and being like, wow, look at this thing I made. And it's funny to say that's the first song I wrote, because it's also a very, specific, ridiculous song. But it had some context to it, because the story of that song was I was hanging out at a party. I was a big partier in high school. Every weekend we'd get a little drunk. Be up half the night. This is about 2 a.m, and I'm the only guy left awake except for one other dude. And he's basically passed out on the piano at this rich person's house I'm hanging out with. She had this awesome music room and this like grand piano. And I was always, she'd throw a party. I'd be like, I got to get on that piano, even though I didn't know how to play it. I was like, I'm going to dink around. It's 2 a.m. This guy's passed out on it, though. So like, I wake him up and I'm like, dude, what are you doing, man? You look super drunk. Anyway, I start asking him questions. I look over at him. He just looks terrible. He's got chew hanging out of his mouth. It's dripping out of his mouth. And so I'm like, man, how's that chew feel? And he's like, oh, gritty. I mean, he looks like he's about to throw up, and he's got chew hanging out. And I'm like, I'm just kind of, so I start dinking around on the piano going, do, 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 kind of playing this haunting melody. It just like came out, even though I don't know how to play piano. I'm playing like one chord, making it sound all like a horror movie, because I'm looking at this guy who looks like he's in a horror movie. He's got chew hanging from his lips. And as I'm asking him questions, I'm kind of going, okay, it feels gritty. And he's like, yeah, it feels shitty. And it just keeps going and going. And so I just start playing and literally writing as he's saying it. I'm like, long cut, grizzly, I chew it daily. And I see him start to kind of like bob his head and laugh and go along with it. And we just keep going for like a half an hour. And a half an hour later, the whole song's written on the spot based on this dude. I was barely friends with the guy, but I knew who he was. He was like a grade below me or whatever. But the next morning I wake up, I'm like, let's see if I can play that thing. And I play it and all these people are listening. And it was that funny thing where everybody starts like singing along with it the first time I've ever played it for them, because it's simple, weird lyrics. I don't even know. So that's the first real experience of songwriting. It was like a real life, in the moment experience.
Long cut grizzly, I chew it daily. It makes me feel so good, like a grizzly man should. I pack it with my first 2 fingers, and my thumb, the smell it lingers in my nose. I take it down, got a dip in my lip now, and it feels so good, it feels so gritty. In my lip I'm feeling shitty, nicotine's in my system now. I wanna quit but I don't know how, so I chew a can every hour and start to feel the power. Flex my muscles all at once, grind my teeth and I bite my tongue, and I can't get over this addiction. It's my only confliction. Long cut grizzly, I chew it daily. It makes me feel so good, like a grizzly man should. Long cut grizzly, I chew it daily. It make me feel so good, like a grizzly man should. I've got the long cut grizzly flowing through my veins. The burning in my lip is driving me insane. My teeth are yellow and my beard is thick, and all them chicks wanna. So where you gonna go? You're never gonna quit. The long cut grizz, the dip. Long cut grizzly, I chew it daily. It makes me feel so good, like a grizzly man should. Long cut grizzly, I chew it daily. It make me feel so good, like a grizzly man should.
So songwriting, like half of it is writing great lyrics that have some kind of meaning to them, right? I'm pretty sure my entire childhood I had a writing, I would call it like a disability, where you get a school assignment and you'd have to write lyrics. I would just write like one word and I'd just stare at the page like with my mouth open, like I have no idea what to write. Like the worst writer in the world, right? Lyric writer. But with music, the fun for me is I could always pick up the guitar, make some kind of a riff. I'd be like, oh, I like that riff. So it'd always start with the riff every time. Like on the piano, I didn't know how to play piano, but I could make up a little, we'll call it a catchy riff, something that gets me interested. And then I kind of think in your head, like, okay, would that be interesting for somebody else, or would that be an annoying thing they wouldn't want to hear? It doesn't really matter what they think, but that's the first thing, is like, is it fun for me to play? Is it something that sounds catchy and interesting? You start with the riff, and then maybe go to the second riff and the third riff. But often it's just one riff, and then you're like, okay, can I add a little melody on top of that? Whether it's, and then progress to the second part of the song, maybe like the verse part 2. It's a little different, evolving it a little bit, evolving the melody, adding a little different melody, something more interesting on top, and then into the chorus type of thing. And I would do that for the whole song. Well, that's still how I do it to this day, because I'm going back to when I was a kid. Terrible lyric writer. So the fun part is making a song basically complete without any lyrics from start to finish. And then you're kind of trying to figure out what that song is after the fact. And that's how it always is for me, because my lyrics don't really come to me right away. Usually, sometimes they do, but it's like 10% of the time the lyrics will come to me. The other 90% of the time, the lyrics are like, I could kind of hear what this song should be and what it should be about, but it comes later in sections. And I might have to do like really grind, like we're going to get verse 1, the first 2 lines, and then I might not be able to get any farther for like, have to come back a week later, and then I finally get like a couple more lines. It's pretty ridiculous how my brain sucks at that stuff, we'll say. It's really annoying. My songs are kind of all ridiculous. They're all songs that kind of make me laugh. I think the biggest thing that inspires me is writing songs for making other people laugh, right? And so I'm inspired by the people around me at the time in my life. So, you know, I go through every decade, we have different groups of people around us often in life, or the people that you hang out with more. And so a lot of the songs I wrote even like 10 or 20 years ago, I was hanging out with lots of different people, let's say groups. Like in my hometown, we'll call it, there's a lot of rednecks there, right? I'm hanging out with rednecks all the time. Guys who smoke, guys who chew, guys who drink hard, guys who party, guys who want to go, you know, all those do the dude time things. And so that's kind of the inspiration for a lot of my songs, particularly. My topics are redneck topics. We got, like I said, Long Cut Grizzly was one of the first songs I wrote. Definitely something inspired by a redneck dude I met that night, you know. So not personally about me per se, although I was a big, you know, redneck party animal myself. But the guys I was around, they were like the epitome of redneck. It brought the inspiration to me for sure. I was like, I want to make this dude laugh because like this dude drinks Busch Beer all day, every day. So like, let's write a song about it, and then won't even tell him till it's done, and I'll play it for him, and then, you know, see what he thinks. That might have been one of the second songs that I even wrote, because, and that actually did come in a moment of, it was kind of like the Long Cut Grizzly. So I wrote this song about Busch Beer on the spot, I'm pretty sure. And it was also about 4 a.m, hanging out in some garage with these dudes. This other guy was jamming this riff on guitar. And then I was like, what are you doing there? And he's like, he shows me the riff. It's a simple riff. It's and then I look over and there's Busch Beer cans scattered everywhere in the garage. It's like, and we're all drinking Busch. That's all there was there. And I don't even usually drink that stuff, but it was literally like we had a guy jamming on the drums who could barely play drums. Like he was the worst drummer in the world, and a girl that came that night who was the worst singer in the world. And she was so drunk she couldn't even talk or sing, but she was singing right in my ear with this screechy voice, screaming Busch Beer while I'm singing and coming up with lyrics on the spot over this little riff. And it's basically talking about drinking a 30-pack of Busch that night. Just ridiculously, partying ridiculously hard, calculating how many beers we're going to need till the store opens up in the morning so we can go buy another 30-pack of Busch, and how it's always going to be my favorite brewski, baby. But yeah, it was inspired by the people around me. They're nearly blacked out on Busch Beer. I'm hanging out with these people. That song would have never came about if I hadn't have been in that garage hanging out with these, alcoholic Busch rednecks. And this girl, I just remember this girl. She was you could not be a worse singer than her. I remember her singing so loud, so screechy in my ear on the most off-tune sound. I will never forget it. I barely could hear the next day. It was just ringing in my ear. And I have those recordings deep in the old hard drive vault somewhere. It's ridiculous. And then you could see how it evolves. Here's where it started. Here's the first clip.
That was a high one. Because I drank Busch Beer, I can sing real high. Drank Busch Beer. Drank Busch Beer.
And then here's the final result. It's the evolution of the real life circumstance into the complete version.
Hey, dude, do you think I could have one of them Busch Beers? Fuck no, motherfucker. Walk your ass to the store and buy your own. Monday night, my favorite night to get fucked up. Gotta pick up some beer at the mini mart. So many choices, so hard to choose.
So another song that I played called Marlboro Cigarettes, right? This was a spawn off of those two songs. So the first song about Long Cut Grizzly Chew and that guy, well, I was also hanging out with this group around this time in my life. I didn't smoke cigarettes, but I was always going and hanging out in this house. There was this room in this tiny garage again this guy had, and everybody there would just chain smoking Marlboro cigarettes. Like there was ashtrays everywhere. It was like going into this dungeon of smoke. And so I went home one night and I was like thinking about it. I'm like, I'm going to write a song about Marlboro cigarettes and I'm going to play it for these guys later. It wasn't even necessarily a pro smoking song at all, but they all thought it was. It was just, it was based on what they're talking about. But I remember visualizing, you know, what was going on the night before when I was writing, and I was trying to picture this ridiculous story about getting on my horse and partying with the boys in the bar, and we were all smoking cigarettes. But the biggest part of all these songs is there has to be some kind of visual thing going on in your brain, like that you could picture to write a decent song. Like if you can't picture something in your head while you're singing it, then it's going to be hard for the audience too, if your lyrics aren't going anywhere. So, you know, in that song about Marlboro cigarettes, it's pretty generic, but it's also I'm telling a story about how I woke up from a big party with the boys smoking cigarettes all night. I got mud on my face, my shirt's burnt from the cigarettes, and how the boys were teaching me how to smoke, even though that's not entirely true. I ain't never smoked a cigarette in my life, thank God, because I still got a voice today. But the thing was, I could picture myself doing all this, getting on a horse, getting the cigarettes in my mouth, and I'm writing the song, visualizing, okay, where does it go from there? Okay, the doctors tell me I shouldn't smoke, so I mention that in the song, and I'm talking about the doctors, how it's going to kill me if I keep smoking, so I better stop. But no, I won't, because I love Marlboros, so I'm going to keep on smoking. They can't tell me what to do. And so that's kind of where the song goes. And then I'm like, okay, how's the music for that going to go? Most importantly, well, I want it to sound like a horse trot. So you're like, I'm on the top of a horse. And so you're singing as if you're riding on a horse with the guitar, right? So it's visual again. You want it all to be a cohesive, right? Cowboy on top of the horse, like the Marlboro ad that you've seen growing up. And that's basically all I knew about cigarettes, other than the fact that every time I went anywhere, everybody had cigarettes around me, and chew, and Busch Beer.
Woke up this morning with mud on my face. My shirt was burnt again. I must have been out late last night at the barn drinking with my friends. They sure been keeping me a living. They've been teaching me to smoke. I used to chew the Long Cut Grizzly, but now that shit's a joke. I smoke Marlboro cigarettes. They put my lungs to the test. I'm breathing fire, I'm smoking tires, Marlboro cigarettes. I called up Joe 'cause I needed to know. I feel like total shit. He said that I was getting out of control, sipping moonshine from the fifth. And then I jumped on the back of a horse, stuck some Marlboros in my mouth. I said, hey boys, look at me, I'm the cowboy himself, smoking Marlboro cigarettes. They put my lungs to the test. I'm breathing fire, I'm smoking tires, I'm Marlboro cigarettes. I need agonizing, horrible death. But I know I'm gonna be fine as long as I keep smoking them Marlboro cigarettes. They put my lungs to the test. I'm breathing fine, smoking tires. Marlboro cigarette, Marlboro cigarette, Marlboro cigarettes. Do down.
Yeah, you know, I mean, well, I am blind, so that's the whole part of this interview that's it's kind of important that I bring up. When I was 16, my friends and I went to the Portland Zoo, and we'd always play truth or dare, so my friends dared me to go up and try to touch the king cobra. And it was right next to the graded fence there, like very close, so I stuck my finger in there. I would never turn down a dare, so right when I stuck my finger in close to that king cobra, he sprayed me right in the eyes and basically blinded me like 90%. So at that point in time, I think I was 16, it changed my life. I had to think with my ears, but be able to picture the world how I saw it before I lost my eyes. So I'd have to picture something in my head when I played music. And it's basically how I play guitar. My eyes do not work. I can't see the guitar. So what I do is I visualize the guitar. I could see my left hand. I picture it on the fretboard, right? Moving the fingers. Picking hand has always just done its own thing. I never have to look at that for some reason. It just came naturally. But I try to visualize the fretboard. Once I get that going, you get the music going, you start singing the song. Basically, you're trying to picture a story in your head. You got to have something in your head, because if you don't visually picture it, then the song kind of doesn't mean anything. I'm always trying to picture those good times hanging out with the boys out in the farm, out in the garages, around all the cigarettes. You're trying to picture that while singing the song. And if I can do that, I can't always do that, but if you're doing that, it instantly transcends you, projects you right into that moment 30 dang years ago or whenever the heck it was. And you're hanging out with the boys, totally hammered, drinking, smoking, chewing, and then all of a sudden you're realizing that the song is 10 times more meaningful, even though it's just about smoking. You're taking a time machine back 20, 30 years. That's what songs and songwriting is about to me. It's a dang time machine, man. If you can make your lyrics represent that moment in time, all that time ago, then you'll always be able to just instantly pick up the guitar, and now you're back there. You're rocking, you're partying, you're having a good time, because that's what I'm all about, having a good time. Buck Nasty. Okay, yeah. So Buck Nasty was based on a dude, and this is the same dude that Busch Beer was partially based on. So this friend that I had, hardcore dude I grew up with, he was a little older than me, more mature. He drank tons of Busch Beer. Like, he had his whole garage filled with empty Busch Beer cans, I'll say. Probably thousands of dollars if he redeemed them. But he never redeemed them because I don't know why. So anyways, this dude had this phrase, dude, let's get buck nasty. So like every time I go to his house, he's like, you want to get buck nasty? I'm like, you know, I kind of like that phrase. And he'd say that and I'd be like, I wasn't planning on even drinking or partying, but now that he said it, let's get buck nasty. And so we just start cracking brewskis for no reason, watching the game. And then before you know it, this dude, he's like, dude, let's put some dresses on and go down to the bar. And I'd be like, that sounds like a terrible idea. He never actually got me to do it, but all the time this dude would he'd be hanging out with even more hardcore dudes than me, and he'd put on a dress, go down to the bar just for shits and giggles, just to, I don't even know why, but he'd get buck nasty, get totally hammered down at the bar looking for some chicks. I wrote this song around that topic, and it was based on a riff that I had made up like 10 years prior when I'd first started picking up the guitar. I used to always play this stupid thing at parties. I'd be like, then I'd be like, I need to put lyrics to that someday. So then I started doing, yeah, how, you know, yeah, yeah, how. And then I'd be like thinking about that guy going to the bar and be like, it's Friday night and I'm ready to go, searching for some ladies. Got on my new boots, my brown leather hat. Goddamn, I feel so sexy. And then the chorus, I'm gonna get buck nasty, baby. I'm gonna get fucking crazy. I'm gonna rock till the sun come up. I'm gonna get buck nasty, baby. And then, yeah. Walk in the bar around 9 o'clock, but there ain't no ladies in here. So I take a stroll around the block and buy a case of Busch Beer. Yeah, Busch Beer. I'm gonna get buck nasty, baby. I'm gonna get fucking crazy. I'm gonna rock till the sun come up. I'm gonna get buck nasty, baby. And then it picks up. Late in the night when it's getting real buck nasty. I'm in my truck fucking headed to the strip club. That's where I go when I wanna find true love. Them ladies got the best personalities. They don't care when I stare at their double D's. Pull in the parking lot doing 65. Pound on some Busch and sprint inside. Grab a seat, center stage. Just in time to hear the DJ play. I gotta get up on it. Anyway, I always start laughing when I get to that part because it gets so ridiculous that I can't even make it through without laughing. So unfortunately, that's the downside to writing comedy songs, because you're just like, you start doing things that are so weird that you're like, wow, I'm a weird dude. And that's it. I'm just a weird dude. If you saw me in real life, I got a big mullet. It's covering my whole face because I've never trimmed my hair. It's been like 20 years. I'm just a mess. So anyway, all right, next question. As songwriters, something that I've always thought about, and I'm sure that a lot of other people do, is there's only so many chords and chord progressions and melodies. I mean, there's infinite, really, but we all end up using the same melodies and the same chord progressions to write these songs, like the songs I played for you. Pretty simple. I've heard those somewhere in my past lives or in my life. And so all that stuff kind of sticks into your unconscious brain and comes out as a new song, one of your songs. But the difference is, you know, what you're singing about in the song, or what's the song topic. That's kind of what differentiates you as a person from the other people. So I like to think of like the movie analogy. All my favorite movies that I used to watch before that Cobra incident, now I just listen to movies like a fanatic. My favorite movies are always true story movies. So we're talking, you know, Walk the Line with Johnny Cash, or La Bamba, the story of Richie Valens. A lot of movies about music, but those movies are great because you're watching it, you get invested in that character and that story because you know it's a true story. And those are what I like in songs. I like the true stories, something to latch onto, where, you know, there's people like Bob Dylan, you know, the most famous song dude of all song dudes history. But then I listen to Bob Dylan and you're like, what's this guy even saying, man? He's like, He's talking about bananas, and he's talking about fling flangs and yin yangs and, tables and what's up underneath the sky and the mirrors and the chimichangas. And you're like, come on, just give me something I can listen to and understand. There's this phrase I'd always hear, 3 chords and the truth. And it's a pretty good phrase because everybody's just using these same chords, same melodies over and over, but the only thing that separates them is that story of the song. What are you singing about? And if it's something true, then it's gonna be a little bit more timeless, right? So yeah, man, just dig deep down into your heart, find them true stories about your life and somebody else's life, and put the pictures into music form, in the movie into music form. So when you're playing the guitar, it's like your guitar is projecting that story right out onto the wall, and then it's going to keep them engaged, and then you're going to be engaged with the song, have more fun playing that song, and it's going to stick around for a longer time into the future.
Thank you for listening to the Songwriting Mind. This interview with Blind John was recorded on January 5th, 2025, in Silverton, Oregon. You can find his music and videos online at facebook.com/blindjohnmusic. If you enjoyed this episode, please follow us on social media, rate the podcast, leave a comment, and share it with others. Peace.